Yeah, that's going to be my next segment. We're going to talk about Biden willing to start a regional war to protect Israel genocide with Operation Prosperity Guardian because Yemen, legitimate government ran by the Houthis. I always love their name, the Houthis. It always sounds like an insult. You know what I mean? My mama not Houthi. Your mama a Houthi. Anyway, we're gonna get to that next. We're gonna get to that soon.
Yeah.
One thing I want to show you guys, and this is Julian Assange explains like the goal that the United States have with war is to make money for the arms industry, correct? So obviously we've seen NATO experience a devastating defeat to Russia, but is it really a defeat? Because at the end of the day, the only goal of the United States, which is an arms dealer masquerading as a government, is to sell weapons. So, in a way, the Ukraine war was actually kind of successful because not only do you have the booming profits coming up in 2024, you had the Ukraine war that boosted revenue for big defense contractors. But now we got this headline because of the Gaza genocide that we are seeing. Look at this. Look from Reuters. This headline: Wars raise profits. War is booming, fam. Business is good. War raises profit outlook for U.S. defense industry in 2024. Surprise, surprise. That is what Joe Biden was here to do. It doesn't matter if you serve one term or you serve two. If he loses, that's fine. The people that work for him, they're going to get cushy lobbying positions. They're going to go to the private sector. They'd be good. And then you're going to get another part to do after they get in. They're going to boost their profits even more. Isn't it one hell of a grift? And I want to read the first two paragraphs, and I want to get Danny's and CJ thoughts on this. Feel free if you want to chime in on the story as well, CJ. Because the first two paragraphs of the story is hilarious. Hilarious. That show how corrupt our government is. When the Pentagon pulled the world's biggest defense contractors in a meeting to tell them to ramp up production after Russia invaded Ukraine, one of the CEOs hesitated, CJ and Danny. They said they don't want to be stuck in a warehouse full of rockets when the fighting stops. Oh, you sweet summer child. He was like, oh, I get there's a war here, business might be good, but I don't want to have a warehouse full of rockets that we're not using. Oh, you sweet summer child. Now, 2 years later, those big defense firms are singing a different tune, with several expecting strong demand in 2024 as the United States and its allies load up on expensive weaponry and munitions with an eye on what they perceive as a more aggressive actions from Russia and China. So they are using Russia and China, the boogeyman, as well as the genocide in Gaza, to celebrate the rise in stocks because now you got people investing in more stocks with the upcoming conflicts. They show that stocks have risen around 5 to 7% between Nordstrom, General Dynamics, and all the weapon defense contractors. So then my last quick story. I want to get CJ in here. I know I went for a bit. So Danny, what's your initial reaction to this? Is this what we expected? Biden comes in, and the weapon industry, boom, business as usual, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is how it goes. With each successive presidential administration, we see the U.S. military budget grows and grows and grows. I believe the next, we know that the Pentagon fails all of its audits. There's trillions of unexplained dollars missing. So we know that actually the U.S. military or so-called defense budget is well larger than it is on paper. But the next iteration, it will surpass 900 billion in just open what we know the United States is spending on its military arsenal, and the vast majority of that is going to some form of defense contracting. So this is a massive boon for the military industrial complex, and that's exactly what this is all about. There is a huge, some people I think overemphasize because they maybe they don't know, or they like to look away from how empire actually does have, maybe it doesn't have a strategic vision, but it does have clear-cut interests in pursuing war, regardless of profiting from it directly. But at the same time, these two things are very much connected. The war profiteering and the fact that the empire actually needs war of any form in order to expand and in order to serve those that war ultimately serves, which is, of course, the oligarchs, the capitalists, the monopolists, these forces that have grown exponentially, concentrated wealth exponentially over the years. They need war in order to continue to rake in massive profits. One of those ways is directly on war itself, is on weapons production, is on weapons contracting, military contracting. And that's what we're seeing here. And that's why there is always, whenever there is a new flashpoint, maybe a proliferation or an escalation of any conflict, whether it's Gaza, Palestine, whether it's Ukraine, no matter what we usually see is that, well, maybe the world economy is not so thrilled. The weapons contractors are very much thrilled about instability and chaos because they know it's going to lead to, for example, Israel needing more ammunition, needing more artillery, needing more tanks, needing more, jets, whatever it is. The same goes for Ukraine. That's why they keep pushing more and more military expenditures to Ukraine. That's why the United States can't take their thumb off of the button, because they know that there are vested interests. They're even talking about, oh, maybe Ukraine can build the weapons. There's nothing realistic about that. What is realistic is that the United States' military contractors, which the vast majority are from the United States, with the exception of a few, the biggest ones, they want to see massive profits from these wars.
Yeah, and people have no idea, and I'll pass right to you, CJ. This is my last thought.
Mm-hmm.
People have no idea the cycle of corruption in our government. Why do you guys think that Boeing and Raytheon advertises on MSNBC? I said this in my hotspot video. Do you guys think they're trying to sell grandma an RPG? You think they're trying to sell your Uncle Mines? No. They do that so they can get pro-war coverage and positive coverage of pro-war politicians. So that's why they shower these corporate media outlets with a ton of advertising dollars. The same money goes to politicians in this capitalist system where whoever raises the most money wins around 97% of the time. So they buy the elections and then they buy the media so they can get pro-war coverage and then positive attention of those candidates. And then if someone running against that pro-war candidate, the media is going to attack them and smear them. And then the politician get elected, then the politician advocate for war, which then boosts the profits of the weapon defense contractors who have more money to then spend on more ads, to spend on more politicians. You guys see how this never-ending cycle?
The cycle.
And people think this duopoly, people think this electoral politics system in this country is legitimate. That's how you get a guy who wear hoodies and the shorts, who called himself progressive, and all of a sudden he's for genocide. That will happen in the Senate races, you know what I mean?